Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Remembrance Day and Earth Day service. It's good to see everyone and have a good day and a beautiful weather for our Earth Day. The ringing of the kansho signifies the start of the service. Please sit quietly. Please rise for the meditation, followed by chanting in Pali and English of the Vandana Ti-Sarana, located in the Brown Service book, or in the Brown Praises of the Buddha book on page 165. Please be seated. We will now have an aspiration led by Reverend Bert Sumikawa.
Fortunate are we who, upon having heard the divine truth and having been everlasting life, may leave this human existence in peace and tranquility, be surrounded in Amida's infinite wisdom and inconceivable compassion. We honor with deep gratitude the members, families, and friends and pets of the Windward Buddhist Temple who have passed away in the month of April. With deepest gratitude to the boundless, inconceivable blessings of Amida Buddha, we take eternal refuge in the three treasures of this teaching. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda.
We will now have the remembrance of those who passed away this month in any year, both individuals and pets. Reverend Sumikawa will hit the gong several times to start this portion of the service. Then the names of the deceased will be announced. Please go forward just to offer incense. Then Reverend Sumikawa will hit the gong again for the next name. After the last name is called and incense is offered, he will hit the gong several times. He will then go directly into the Sutra Praises of the Buddha on page 112 in the red Jodo Shinshu Service book. Sadao Uno. Shizuko Kanda. Seisho Yonamine. and Tome Yanagisawa.
Shines in great splendor, boundless, wondrous dignity, such the greatness of your light, beyond all comparison, brightness of the sun and moon, and the shining money jewels, when compared to your brilliance, seem to us like blackest ink. Gatha's countenance transcends all comparison. The great voice of awakening resounds through the 10 quarters. Your precepts, learning, effort, meditation, wisdom are virtues beyond all compare, ultimate, supreme, and rare. Your deep meditation has fathomed all the Dharma sea, to the limits and the depths of all things the Buddhas teach. Ignorance, anger, and greed, the world honored one has none, like a lion among men, measureless your great virtue, vast are your great virtuous deeds, wisdom deep and so sublime, your radiant luminous light shakes all the world's foundations. When I become a Buddha, equal to the Dharma King, I will transcend birth and death, liberating all beings. My giving disciplined mind, precepts, patience, and effort, meditation and wisdom shall be supreme, unsurpassed. I will attain Buddhahood, everywhere fulfill my vow, bringing to all those in fear great peace and tranquility. Though there are myriad Buddhas, beyond measure, beyond count, great sages numberless, like the grains of Ganges sands. I will honor each of them, equally accepting none. Even more importantly, I will seek the supreme way, even though all Buddha worlds are countless as Ganges sands, even though all lands and realms are boundless without measure, yet my light shall reach them all and illumine every place. Such shall be my perfect work, such my power infinite. When I attain Buddhahood, my land will be first and best, place of practice transcendent, its people sublime and rare, land equal to nirvana, beyond all comparison, with pity for everyone, I will carry all across, all who come from 10 quarters to be born into my land, to attain pure joyful mind, peace and great tranquility. Be my witness, Buddha, please. Confirm my sincerity. Now that I have made my vows, I will strive to fulfill them. Buddhas of the 10 quarters, with your wisdom unhindered, may all of these honored ones know my deepest intention, even though my body must bear great pain and suffering. I will persevere and strive patiently without regret. Amen. shared equally my all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land namanda, 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 namanda.
Please rise and turn to page 126 in the red Jodo Shinshu Service book for the recitation, Golden Chain of Love. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love.
Golden chain of love stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself.
I will try to think clear and beautiful thoughts,
To say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that what I do now depends not only on my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in the golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please continue to remain standing for the Gatha, May Peace Prevail, on page 19 of the purple WBT Supplemental Service Book. It's in the back of your chair. Please be seated. Our Remembrance Day Earth Day Service speaker is our very own Reverend Dr. Bert Sumikawa.
Morning, everyone. So, Did we forget about Peace Day or Earth Day? Anyway, Earth Day was Friday. And that's why I brought this picture up today, just to remind all of us that, what we should be mindful of. So this morning then, we are observing Happy Earth Day once again. So once again, welcome to the Windward Buddhist Temple. Friday, April 22nd, is designated as Earth Day. It's a day that we set aside to remind us that this is one world, one planet, and that this is not only our home, but also those of other beings and things, both animate and inanimate. And we need to collectively take care of our home. So today we should look around and remember and appreciate Earth Day. Now, please join me by putting your hands together in reverence as I read these words. Because the power of the vow is without limits, even our evil karma, so deep and heavy, is not burdensome. Because the Buddha's wisdom is without bounds, even the bewildered and wayward are not abandoned. Namo Amida Butsu. Naman Davuts. Naman Davuts. On April 22nd, 1970, throughout not only the nation and Canada, but throughout the world, the entire world community as well, we observe what has come to be known as Earth Day. It was about 3 years ago, to celebrate Earth Day, that we went to the Kailua beach together, if you recall, together with some of the Dharma school children, to pick up as much trash as we could in a set period of time, and brought it back to the temple. We had the Dharma school children use some of those materials to construct something in celebration of the event. And we even held a short service, Sunday service at the beach. We can also learn a valuable lesson on karma, that what we do now eventually affects the lives of others in the future as well. This is karma living in action. Karma is not retribution or bachi, as we commonly use the term, or what goes around comes around. What it is that whatever we do at this time will ultimately result in what happens in the future. So yesterday, about 16 members, including children, 2 children of the Windward Buddhist Temple, walked along Kule Road from the intersection of Kule and Oniava streets down to, I guess, we're supposed to go to Kainala Drive, but I don't think we made it. Everybody was thirsty and waiting for some watermelon and stuff. Anyway, we went there to pick up whatever trash there was, to show the town that we are very much concerned about the environment, and that this was indeed a very small but a significant way to express our Buddhist values of interconnectedness and interdependence. A few passers-by expressed their appreciation for our effort as well. It was a fun day, and we all enjoyed snacks back at the temple afterwards. So let's plan on doing this again next year, and hopefully we'll have more of us joining. As it is fun. It is fun, In town, there's a 7-year plan also, if you recall, to throw these Genki balls into the Alawai Canal. They use the balls by hand. They make the balls by hand using clay soil from garden supply stores that's mixed with rice bran, molasses, and lactic acid, and yeast, and some probiotic bacteria as well. So the bacteria then digest the hydrogen sulfite, and all that stinky stuff in the canal. These are examples of the many projects by Hawaii's residents in support of sustaining and maintaining our lives on Earth. And this is for the benefit of future generations, especially. The effective microorganisms was developed by Professor Emeritus Teruyo Higa of the University of the Ryukyus in Okinawa. And reportedly, it has restored various water attractions throughout Japan including Tokyo Bay. About 200 members of the community came out to drop these Genki balls into the Alawai Canal earlier this month. The word Genki it's a Japanese word, and it's translated as having energy or pep, or original spirit, or good health. You know, people ask, are you Genki? Are you in good health? Oh, yeah, sometimes, but my back still hurts. The environment was a word that appears more often in spelling bees than on the evening news in the past, if you recall. Although, excuse me, mainstream America largely remained oblivious to these environmental concerns, the stage has been set for change by the publication of Richard Carson's New York Times bestseller called Silent Spring. This book was that represented a watershed moment, selling more than 500,000 copies in 24 countries, and began to raise public awareness and concern for living organisms, the environment, and links between pollution and the public health. Earth Day 1970 gave voice to the emerging consciousness, channeling the energy of the anti-war protest movement and putting environmental concerns in the front page. On April 22nd, 1970, 20 million Americans took to the streets, parks, and auditoriums to demonstrate for healthy and sustainable environment in massive coast-to-coast rallies. Thousands of colleges and universities organized protests against the deterioration of the environment. Groups that have been fighting against oil spills, polluting factories and power plants, raw sewage, toxic dumps, pesticides, freeways, and the loss of wilderness and the extinction of wildlife suddenly realized that they shared common values. So this Earth Day then awakens us to a renewed sense of awareness about the importance of nature in our lives. It provides the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, and the food that we eat. It is essential for life. Nature has a way of bringing us all together. Nature unites us. Let us all discover opportunities to act, volunteer, and to give and celebrate our connection to nature. We're also very cognizant of the environment as well here in Hawaii. In a recent Honolulu Advertiser, a columnist stated that Hawaii's companies are demonstrating leadership in addressing these environmental issues at a level that's not been seen in past generations. And speaking of Earth Day, I'm reminded of how we as human beings living on this planet, from about back in 2008, I believe, I think that we have been using these three-colored bins. Brown bin for general rubbish, a green one for grasses and general garden trash, and a blue one for newspapers, bottles, cans, and so forth. But you know, when this system was established, I thought, this is really humbug. It take a lot of time out of my life. Because I'm used to putting everything in one bin, right? I wasn't used to the thought of recycling and how we can help to ensure future generations of the necessities of life. Not only that, as accustomed to dumping all my used plastic bottles in the general trash without thought or concern about the protection of the environment as well. So I said, you know, this one is for the household trash, the other one is for greens and so forth. And they come to your house on selected days. That's even more humbug, right? You forget, oh no, I got the green one today. Oh no, the brown one today. But you know, when we think about it, that's how we are. And a lesson learned in New York City by a taxi driver as he explained to a rider as the cab was heading to the Grand Central Station one day. They were driving in the right side of the lane when all of a sudden a black car jumped out of the parking space right in front of them. The cab driver slammed on the brakes and missed the other cars back back end, just by inches. The driver of the other car, the guy who almost caused the accident, whipped his head around and started yelling words at him. The cab driver just smiled and waved at him. He was so friendly. So the rider asked the driver, "What did you do that? That guy almost ruined your car and sent us to the hospital as well." Well, this is when the author of this story, David Pulley, I guess his name is, in his book, The Law of the Garbage Truck, he wrote that as the cab driver told him, that many people are like garbage trucks. They run around full of garbage, full of frustration and anger, and full of disappointment. And as their garbage piles up, they need a place to dump it. And nowadays, people are more scientific, and in particular, how we dump our junk. We can now neatly dump our garbage, or as the Buddha explains it, as sufferings. We dump it into our trucks in categories. The Buddha saw suffering as analogous to an illness, and called the three basic causes of suffering as the three poisons, as you all know, namely anger, greed, and ignorance. So now we have a black bin for anger, a green one for greed, and a blue one for our ignorance. And if you let them, they'll dump it on you. So when someone wants to dump on you, don't take it personally. You just smile, wave, wish them well, give them the shaka sign, as we learned a couple weeks ago, and move on. So you'll be happy that you did. So this author, David Pulley, then began thinking, how often does he let garbage trucks run over them? And how often does he take their garbage and spread it to other people at work, at home, or on the streets? It was then that he said, I don't want their garbage and I'm not going to spread it anymore. How often do we let other people's nonsense change our mood? Do we let a rude driver, a rude waiter at a restaurant, or a curt boss, or an insensitive employee ruin your day? Or before a new directive, when you see someone in the store refusing to wear a mask and not socially distancing at parks or beaches, usually you sit back on your heels. But the mark of your success is how quickly you can refocus on what is important in your life. There have been many, many examples of people who don't let garbage ruin their lives. Good leaders have to be ready for the next meeting. Good parents know that they have to greet their children home from school with hugs and kisses, even after a bad day. I'll tell you something funny that happened to me, you know. My second kid, he was in college. I think he was a junior. That's when they start applying to other schools and stuff, right? So he wanted to go to med school. So that summer he volunteered at St. Francis Hospital, and he was assigned to the orthopedic ward. And he went there every day. Every day I asked him, hey, how was it? Okay. Then he came home one day and he says, I'm not going to take the MCAT. What? I'm not going to take the MCAT. I changed my mind. I don't want to be a physician. Why? You know, those orthopedic residents, they all talk about how much money they're going to be making once they get out. I said, Dad, you never talked about money. So I said, how do you know? Maybe I don't have any, that's why, you know. So he didn't go to med school, he went to dental school instead. I don't know. I should have talked to him more. In a Tanisho, Shinran said that some people say that if a practicer of true and trusting should unexpectedly become angry, act wantonly, or argue with others, they should by all means undergo turning of the mind. Does this mean that we should sunder evil and practice good? In the person of the single-minded Nembutsu, single-hearted Nembutsu, the turning of the mind occurs only once. The turning of the mind refers to this. It's a transformation of those ignorant of the primal vow of the other power who, being granted Amida's wisdom and realizing the impossibility of everyday mind attaining birth, abandon the old mind and entrust the self to the primal vow. Once this true entrusting is settled, we realize that our birth is then due to the working of Amida and not to our own calculations. Even though we may do evil, even more should we think about the power of the vow. Then, tenderness and forbearance will appear by virtue of made to becoming soul by itself, as it say. So it is through the experience of the so-called garbage truck that we learn compassion. Is that when we learn our true selves and express our gratitude to Amida Buddha, that enables us to see things as they really are, to enable us to see our true selves. To close this Dharma message, let me read this piece from this book, Mutually Sustaining Life, titled Kansho, or translated as environment. There was no other time in history when the environment has been so threatened with pollutants as it is today. Insatiable human desire is the cause of environmental destruction. Our desire to pursue a more convenient life is constant and never stops. The warming of the earth has caused certain areas to have abnormally high or cold temperatures and accounted for the deaths of many people. Continuous heavy rains in many countries have caused big floods and destroyed much of the earth's cultivated land and the loss of many lives. Witnessing the escalating volume of garbage and the increase of dioxins produced in the processing of garbage, as well as severe air pollution caused by the increasing number of cars, our indispensable water supply is also polluted. And we had experience with that very recently ourselves. As these examples illustrate, there are no limits to our environmental problems, and the culprits are all human beings. Environmental problems are human problems. Unless our eyes are focused on human beings, there will be no real solutions to these problems. In the center of the world of universal life, we humans exist together with all other forms of life. This is the starting point, and unless we return to this starting point and try to solve these problems, our environment will continue to be polluted. Thank you very much for listening to this message, and now will you please join me once again by putting your hands together in reverence. To learn Buddhism is to know oneself. To know oneself is to forget oneself. One just is. This state of perfect naturalness, a state of meaningless meaning and purposeless purpose, this is what the Buddha taught. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda.
Thank you, Reverend Bert, for that inspiring message on interdependence and our responsibility to the earth. Please rise for the Gatha Flying Free on page 30 of the purple WBT Supplemental Service Book, and continue to remain standing for the Nembutsu found on page 107 of the Praises of the Buddha book.
becomes compost. Everything is in transformation. Even permanence is impermanent. Namo Amidavus. Namo Amidavus. Namo Amidavus.
Please be seated. Thank you everyone for attending our service today, and now time for announcements.
Good morning. It is Earth Day. Let's see. We don't have any guests today, but I would like to thank the volunteers for today. MC Neil, thank you. Jerry served as our greeter, and thank you, Lisa, for playing the piano. And refreshments for today is going to be from Team C, led by Merle. And the altar flowers were done by Janet. It's beautiful. Thank you. And of course, thank you, Reverend. And I also want to thank there were 17 people that joined us yesterday to clean up the trash. So and Roy and Ryan Miyamoto had led the group, and then they later provided us with refreshments. So thank you. I didn't realize that when you first look at it, there's not that much rubbish, but when you start walking, there is a lot of trash. And thanks to those of you that donated food for the spring food bank collection. We delivered 138 pounds to the Hawaii Food Bank. And as part of Earth Day, I wanted to share some of the small changes that we can make in our lives, and hopefully, as Reverend said, keep the earth, clean and ready for the next generation. And if you go through Google and you see, almost everybody's talking about reusable things, yeah? Reusable toilet paper. Well, I wasn't gonna get that. I thought to myself, I was teasing, I said, I have a lot of scrap material, I'd make you guys toilet paper, But anyway, so I'll have some of this out at the table. But what I found are things like this. It's a reusable paper towel. And it's made by bamboo. I guess bamboo is considered what? Grass. And so it's not like cutting down trees, And then, I think it was over 5 years ago that on our Earth Day, our first Earth Day, I made some do-it-yourself cleaning things, and I had the recipe on it. If you're like me, after a while you get tired of making your own, right? So that goes out of the way. But I said, I guess I gotta renew that. But lately, you're going to find in all kinds of places like Target or Walmart or even the supermarkets, they make more environmentally friendly cleaning things. And so I have some of that to share with you. But I'll share with you some of the stuff I make too. We use so much of our paper, and as I keep saying, it takes so much water to make paper. And water is so precious that if we can use less water, so anything that's only printed on one side, if the information is not, confidential, and then especially some, when you print, half the page is all white. So I cut it and I say, so I just brought you the white ones. And all you do is put glue on it. So I brought you some of that I made. And, those of you that sew or your old t-shirts, t-shirt fabric makes one of the best ties. You know that? So I just cut in strips and so if you have yard work and you got to bundle things, rather than going out and buying string and all that, these are so much nicer. If you're a gardener, it doesn't cut into your plants as much. I have a bag full of stuff in here. This is what I found. It's by Clean People, and it's for your laundry. It's just sheets, and the sheets is so concentrated, you use a sheet. So The thing is that you don't have a plastic bottle to throw out if you use liquid detergent, and then it's just this small box. So I'll have some, and if you want to take some home, you're welcome to do that. And I saw these cute bamboo straws. This is from Maui. The people in Maui, I guess, outsourced this, and this was made in Vietnam or Indonesia. But they're cute, they're made of bamboo. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. So that's for today, so I'll have it on the table out there. A few announcements. You know, now that we've been providing our snacks in paper bags, and we probably won't be using your own plates and things, so the cart is out there, and if you have any in the cart, please take them home. One of the reasons is we're trying to make space in the storage room, and once we can remove that cart, that'll create more space. Second thing, fresh takuang was made on Thursday, and it's on sale for $5 a tub, and it's in the refrigerator. Let's see. May 1st, next week, there's no service. So please consider joining the virtual state Dharma School gathering. I had sent the information to you before, so that's going to be happening on that day. May 8th is Mother's Day service. We have a guest speaker, Nancy Shimamoto from Mo'ili'ili. And May 15 is a major service. It's Shinran Shonin's birthday. And we have Reverend Makino here as a guest speaker. So, any other announcements? Okay, before we leave to enjoy our refreshments, let's say words of thanksgiving. It's in your red book, page 126. We are truly grateful for this wonderful food, a gift of life. May we share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namo Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu.